Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Thank you so much for joining me on today. I am Pastor Deidre Samuel McLeod. I am the pastor of the awesome ministry, Divine Destiny Ministries, where you can be different in order to make a difference. I thank you so much for joining us on this morning. If you can just take just a moment and just share and tag and share and let somebody know that I am on. I promise you that they will be blessed on this morning. This morning, I don't know how quick the word is going to be, but I'm going to try my very best to make it quick, to make an impact in your life. If you can hear me, just tell me I can hear you. If not, let me know before I get started. I don't want to go forth and waste no oil, waste no word. I want everyone to be blessed from the word that the Lord has given me on this morning. Just waiting to see, what people got to say, whether they can hear me, whether they can't, so we can continue to go forward. Okay, awesome. On this morning, I wrote in the comments, it's in the go. It's in the go. That and then I dropped at the bottom, go. That oftentimes in our life that we're waiting on God to give us a response where we are. And God has already prophesied. He already released the word in our spirits, but we're waiting on God to move things out of our way. We're waiting on God to open up the door before we begin to move. Now, in the go, it all comes down to faith. Whether you stay where you are, you're operating in fear. But when you begin to move, you're now operating in the go. And oftentimes we be so afraid of moving forward. We want the prophecy. We want what God have to say. We wait in lines, waiting to hear what people are going to speak into our lives. And then we get the word, we be excited about it, we roll all over the floor, but we don't do no movement. How in the world that we keep believing God to open up doors for us, but we refuse to move? Now, God was dealing with me about it's in the go. I think on last week I talked about go. God's been dealing with me heavily about go. Leaving out of year 2024, there have been some things that I really laid in the face of God and saying, God, I don't know what you're going to do, but God, I need for you to move like really, really fast. I need for you to move. I know that prophecy's been hanging over my head. I know that I got a word. I know that there's some things that you're really setting up for me to do, but God, I need for you to move. And God said to me, you're not going to get it where you are. You're going to get it in the move. It got to be in the go. You're waiting on God to show you before I move. But the Bible says it's impossible to please him without having faith. So moving means that I got to go from where I am in order to move in a place of faith so God can be pleased. And when God is pleased, God said, now I'll open up the door for you. So now God is saying, he said, I gave Abraham a prophecy, but I did not give Abraham the fullness of the word until Abraham was able to move from where he was. That God told him that he was going to be blessed. He told him what was going to take place. He told him that he was going to be the father of many nations, but none of that happened until Abraham left from where he was. The Lord said, now you got to come from among them. We're trying to stay with people that's not called to where we're going, that's not blessed, that's not anointed for where we're going. They don't even know how to pray us through a headache, but yet we're trying to stay tied and connected to folk that don't even believe that you're able to accomplish the things that you're able to believe. You'll begin to know who's really for you when you start telling them your dreams, start telling them your visions, and all of a sudden they start telling you how it didn't work for them, how it didn't move for them, how it was blocked for them, how they didn't have the money, how it turned down for them, how they didn't believe in them, how they didn't support them. And they'll start picking apart your dreams. They'll start picking apart your visions. They'll start picking apart everything that you know that God has placed down in your spirit, all because they're not designed to go where you are going. You got to cut them off. And I'm trying to give you some nuggets. I'm trying to give you some nuggets to help you to be able to finish this year out successfully. Now God will start dealing with me about the eagle. Listen, God bless my whole entire soul. Now, most birds that are born, they are born with small little wings. They're small. They got a little, they make little noise. Why? Because they're small. Their destinies are not so great, not as great as the eagle. Now, God started dealing with me about the eagle. He said the eagle are born with big wings. And I said, Lord, I never knew that about an eagle. He said the eagle wings don't get just big when they become an adult. An eagle is born with big wings, and they're born because their destiny is so great. The vision for their lives is so wide. The call on them is so great. They're so anointed. They're so powerful. Listen, they couldn't come here with small wings because the small wings could not carry them to where God is calling them. So you've been trying to figure out why I don't fit in with them, why every time I share things with them, it seems like they're trying to block it. Why? Because their vision is small. They got small wings. They only thing they're doing, they're flapping around. They're not called to soar. And God is calling you to soar to another level, to another dimension. God is calling you to soar to greater heights and greater destinies and greater places that you're going. And you can't keep giving what God is giving you with people that's only flapping around because they got small visions and small mentalities. Small, they just operating small. Listen, where God is calling you, God is calling you to greatness. God is calling you to a large place. God is calling you. I'm telling you now that your territory is going to be so great. I'm telling you, your territory is going to be so great. You're looking at and I just live in Hartsville, and I'm calling out Hartsville because that's where I live. But I'm telling you now, there's a place that God is actually calling you for, and you've been trying to figure out why I have not been able to soar because where you live at can't even hold you. Where you live at, where they even call you, can't even hold you. That's how come the Bible tells us that you will not be honored in your own country. Prophets are not honored in their own country because you got small-minded people that still see me as DD. They don't see me as the prophet or the pastor that God has actually called me forth to be. They see me as only being the hairstylist. They only see me as doing small stuff. They don't see me as the eagle, and they're only seeing me as small because their mentality is small. Listen, how are you going now to people that flap small, that cry small, that see small, that can't go a large destiny, they can't fly a long destiny? Why? Because they are small. So now God is saying, now you have now been in the company of people. You got large wings. You're doing big things. You got a great call in your life. Now, listen, people are now starting to know who you are. They start to know your name. They're starting now to put your name out there. They're now starting to speak your name in rooms that you never thought that your feet would ever be able to trod in. I'm telling you, doors are now opening. Windows are now opening. They are now opening now up for you. Why? Because God has called you for such a time as this. And listen to me good. You've been thinking that now that this won't work, this won't happen, this won't amount to anything. Now you're only looking at it small because you're operating like a small bird. Come on, you are a big bird, you are eagle. Listen, come on, Sesame Street. Listen, didn't we get our first learning from Sesame Street with Big Bird? Big Bird showed up with big things and taught us our ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and our colors and the sounding and all kind of stuff. Big Bird, you are Big Bird. Listen, I heard the woman of God started talking about big dogs and little dogs. Little dogs, they got small barks. And listen, they only try to, they get on your nerves. They're a little annoying. Yes, they are, but they ain't doing nothing. When I really want somebody to get in and fight some things and handle some stuff for me, I'm calling the big dogs. I'm calling now the Rottweilers and the Doberman Pinschers. I'm calling the pit bulls because I'm looking for something to happen. God said, I called you to be an eagle because I'm looking for some big things to happen. I call the big birds to now show up. I don't need for you to be flapping around and making just some small noise and chirping around. I need for you to now make a sound. Why? Because now you're soaring. And there's something about a big bird when they show up on the scene. Why? Because they're showing up. They understand who they are. They understand who they're called to be. They understand that when I open up my mouth and when I spread my wings, what? Things begin to happen. I ain't going no short distance. I'm not just going to Darlington. I'm not just going to Florence. I'm going to high places and big destinies. Why? Because I got big wings. Why? Because I'm a big bird. Listen. God is saying it's in the go. It's in the go. You've been sitting around. You counted yourself out long before they ever did. You counted yourself out. You thought that you wasn't qualified. You thought that you wasn't called. Everything that you've been trying to accomplish have not been happening. Why? Because you've been looking at yourself as a small bird. And God is saying, it's in the go. It's in the go. You won't begin to get the full resources and understanding until you begin to move. Until you begin to move. Till you begin to move. God has been dealing with me. God has opened up so many doors for me just within this past week or two. Listen, God has really been moving. And God is really, really speaking and calling some things forth. I was just sharing, I was talking to someone that's very near and dear to my heart on this morning. And they said that there was a prophecy that came forth for me. And they said that, and I kept saying to God that, and he said, and even when I was telling people, I said, God said I was going. And they said, I never worked on it. Only thing I kept saying that God said that I'm going. And they said that, and when it did not happen, they said, I began to think that it was a lie, that they false spoken, or that it wasn't real. And I said to them, this was my words. I said, when you were preparing to go where you were going, let me use this analogy. Can I use this analogy just for a moment? Let me help you. That nobody goes to the NFL, no player, without training, without preparing. Nobody. They're not coming to get somebody like me. I exercise, but I don't train like I'm going to the Olympics. I just exercise to look good, to maintain my health. I'm not exercising because I'm looking to run a Zumba class or exercise. I'm just exercising just to maintain my health and to keep looking good and stay in shape. But there's a different type of preparation that you do when you begin to prepare, because you're going somewhere. And that's what God is saying. He said that there's a different type of preparation that you have to do. There's some of us that we're in our 20s, our 30s, and our 40s and 50s, and some 60 people might be on here, or 70-year-olds, and you have really given up. By the time most people reach around about 45-ish, they have already now given up on a lot of their dreams, because they feel like that if things didn't happen in their 20s or 30s, that it probably won't happen. But I'm reminded that I've always had a push in me, a fight in me, but I didn't really start pushing it and mashing the pedal to the metal until I got in my 40s. And let me tell you something, there was a different type of preparation that I had to do. And I said, it wasn't that God lied to you. It wasn't that the prophets lied to you. You lied to yourself. And that has now made you, come on, Prophet Todd Hall, it has now made you a false recipient. When you put all the responsibility on God and you take no responsibility for yourself, that's how come a lot of us are still sitting around waiting on God to speak and for God to move. We're waiting on another prophecy, and God said, I'm not going to give you another prophecy because I already gave you the go. And reason why we're not seeing some of the businesses and seeing the financial freedom and the income in your households being blessed, and your children being blessed, and your houses and cars, and seeing organizations come to pass and all of that stuff, because you've been sitting off of a prophecy and you never went in the go. You stayed exactly where you are because you was believing that God was going to come and pick you up and begin to push you and allow you now to get into position. And God said that is not what I'm going to do. I gave you a word. You got feet, they work. You got wings. Didn't I tell my ministerial class that on last night? You got wings and they're not broken. They work. They work. We got legs and they're not broken. They work. We got eyes. We can see. They work. Even if you blind, there's still a call that's upon your life, because God will give you insight that your natural eyes are not even able to see. But you have a prophetic vision on the inside of you that's able to see far more clearer, far more broader, far more longer than anything that your natural eyes are able to see. Right now, there are some things that God's saying now. I'm about to open up for you and allow you to be able to see, but you won't be able to see it staying where you are. Listen, there are things that they were able to see when they went out. Then when they went out to be able to discover the moon, they had to first be able to go out there. It was enough being able. It wasn't enough just being able to see it through the microscope, or seeing it through the I'm forgetting the word that they use to be able to see out, and they're able to see out into the moon, and they're able to see all of that stuff. But listen, you're not able to see it because you're trying to see it through this lens. And God's saying there's some things that you won't be able to discover until you go. Telescope. Thank you. Till you go. You keep looking through the telescope and you're watching everybody else be blessed. You're watching everybody else receive it. You're watching everybody else obtain it. You're watching everybody else do it, because you're watching it through that lens. And God is saying, I called you to go. It's in the go. It's in the go. You will never be able to behold it. Your business will never blossom to the place that God has really called it forth to be until you say yes and go. Go. That's all I have for us on today. That your wings work. Your wings, they work. God made your wings so big because he knew that he wasn't speaking to where you are. He was speaking to where you're going. He never intended for the eaglet to be so small that it had to grow into its place that God has called it forth to be. God has already made its wings so big that its wings is waiting on the body to show up. But the wings is already ready to carry. Oh God, what God has placed in you, it's already ready to carry you to your destiny. Why? Because your wings work. There is millions inside of you. Something that broke me. I was listening to this woman of God. She have helped so many people become blessed. She sold into them. She blessed them. She taught them nuggets. She gave them stuff. But every time it was her time to go forth, she kept saying, no, I'm not qualified. I just keep helping them. She's been helping companies and businesses make millions, but she was too afraid to start her own business. And finally, she said yes. And her bishop, which is also my bishop, said, it's time for you to go. And now she has started her business that she have helped millions people to get millionaire statuses off of her ideas, off of her vision, because she was the eagle, but she was helping the red bird, the blue bird, the raven, all of them that can't fly the distance that she could. She was helping them get in places and get in rooms and get opportunities that was right waiting for her. But if she would have only knew that her wings work. She said that I refuse to die and make the graveyard rich. And I have my children left here in poverty. When I tell you that thing grabbed me, had me jacked up. I don't know about y'all, God would jack me up. He had me jacked up. He said that. And I said, God, I've struggled long enough. I sow seeds into people that never sold into me. I support businesses of people that never, ever grace my business at all. I've prayed for folk that don't even take 2 seconds out of their day to even ask you to even bless me. I give, I sow, I believe, I give people opportunities that have never given me an opportunity back. I even started going down my list and I said, God, I gave them an opportunity, that an opportunity, that one an opportunity, that one opportunity. And they never, ever, 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 ever gave me an opportunity. They didn't even mention my name. Reminded me of Joseph. But listen, I'm now working the plan that God has for me because it's in the go. My wings work and I'm working my wings. I'm working my wings right now. So yes, Sister Kendra, I've struggled long enough. Listen, I have right now something that I need to accomplish. It costs. We have not because we ask not. Don't stop dropping off because I'm about to ask you for something. As a matter of fact, because I done sold into many of y'all, way more than you have ever sold into me. I need $75 by the time I get off this live to sow into something that I got to accomplish on this morning. I have the information down there at the bottom of the screen. When I get off this live, I'm believing that the $75 will be sold. And not only will it be sold, I'm believing that God will turn around and bless you more abundantly. And that the word that he has given you, the business that he has given you, the idea that he has given you will advance you so much. Come on, come on. God be the glory. Will advance you so much that you will see a great return off of the seed that you sow on this morning. Hey, I am Pastor Deidre Samuel McLeod. Listen, God will establish you. But if you believe in the prophet, you will prosper. That's the word of God. Have an awesome and wonderful day. And to God be all of the glory. Join us on this evening at 6 p.m. as we have a live Bible study. No in-house, live. My minister, my evangelist, Audrey Vona Park, will be going forth on this afternoon at 6 p.m. teaching you the word of God. I promise you, she's an anointed woman of God. She will pray you through. I'm telling you, she will pray you through and push you to get to the next place. Join the live. I'll see you all shortly. Have an awesome and wonderful day. And to God be all of the glory.